case you were worried. So, I got two poems to read to you tonight. Low tech, no phone on me.
Low tech, woo! Iris.
The first poem is called How to Explain. I want to find the perfect metaphor, something so perfect it explains, it satisfies, it silences, it clarifies for myself, for the kind, for the well-meaning, for the ignorant. To others, this depression seems familiar. It isn't. It lends itself to appropriation, but the similes are always off. I try to use the SATs to explain. Depression is to ordinary sorrow as what is to what. I begin, but I cannot finish. It is not the same. I want to find the perfect metaphor. I thought of a snake, unable to shed its own skin, stuck suffocating in its past, agonized by stunted growth, covered, enveloped, and folded. Imagine the concept of comfort transformed into horror, a silent scream. To others I appear gentle, glum. In my mind I scream, I rage. I hold myself from reaction, I hold back my frustration, I stifle my voice, I suffocate. I understand why they miss, understand that they meant well. I try not to misunderstand, not to miss what is under. Good intention wrapped in painful, useless advice. I want to find the perfect metaphor. I thought of electrical wiring poorly installed, or corroded in its environment, hidden behind walls stripped bare of insulation, sparking with each repeated contact, beautiful, dangerous, lethal, at first on fire from rage and sorrow, and then the outage. Flat, cold, gray, lifeless, a home without safety, nor comfort, nor light. To others there is a cure, a repair through want and will, and somehow I have not realized, that I have not considered that I need to follow a plan, an act, an attitude. Adjustment is salvation, because regular laughter, a daily reflection, prayer, meditation, or purpose were the missing cure. I want to find a perfect metaphor. I thought of my nerves, an interconnected system, an anatomical grid of sensations. It refers a caress through my body in shivering aftershocks. I imagine this system unshielded, raw, exposed, bleeding, soft breaths transformed into a windstorm, the desert sand buffeting, scraping. I want to find the perfect metaphor. I thought of acid in my brain, burning new pathways, decimating old thoughts, patterns of survival destroyed, overridden by scar tissue left in the wake of excruciation. That's not a word. If depression causes pain, its ability to inflict such damage deserves its own verb. This metaphor is close to the Babel, a leaning ivory tower built by healthcare professionals who speak of MDD as alteration, actual changes to the synaptic geography, so the partial fixes I seek out, painful procedures wasting more days of my life working on my thoughts, only to leave them slightly less ugly. To others, I explain this change, that I will need to be vigilant for the rest of my days. Though days are fraught, as are any other increments of time to listeners, ever alert to indicia that I might be considering a shorter duration, but I digress. For the rest of my years, I will monitor my thoughts, my emotions, my medications, my manifestations, seeking the slightest maladjustment. That might lead to instability, which can lead to the gray. This is self-absorption for preservation. And in my vigilance, I have to make my confessions to the priests of the Church of Medicine to get treatment, to obtain salvation. I have to expose myself to their judgment, their power, to agree or urge or force me to commit my life to worship in the confines of their monastery, euphemistically called an institution. And once I am there, these priests of the Church of Medicine, through prayer to their personal understanding of the scriptures of their faith, have absolute discretion to proclaim how long my stay will last. I have learned to recite with careful piety the depression liturgy. Do you hear voices? Do you see things? Do you believe you have unusual powers? Do you believe anyone is out to get you? Do you have thoughts about hurting yourself, hurting others, that life is not worth living? Have you made plans to hurt yourself, to hurt others, to end your life? Do you think you are better off dead? Can you rate these thoughts on a scale from 1 to 5? Can you rate these thoughts by how many times you have had them in the last day, in the last 2 weeks? Can you rate how much these thoughts interfere with your work, interfere with your relationships, interfere with your life? I know how to lie, because of course I think about these things acidly by every single layer of the system. This semi-covered healthcare cult where the priests and acolytes, the nuns and friars all seem proud to call psychiatry a unique blend of art and science. This is a grandiose way to explain how their faith in themselves and their methods and pharmaceuticals will, through weeks and months of experimentation on me, through artful science on me, or scientific art on me, they will match medications to me and to every other special snowflake whose unique brain explains the inconsistencies, the prescribing hypocrisy, the scripture of Hippocrates. To others who look at me in confusion or judgment or fear or skepticism, I want to tell them that they are amateurs, as if they could judge me more harshly than the elders of the church, as if they could ever be as loud as the chorus of recrimination constantly screeching in my head, which I hasten to assure is also a metaphor. To others, I avoid admitting to my time spent staring all days through my veil of snakeskin, unable to bathe or dress or eat or move, unable to feel anything, even despair. It is lassitude, a growing conviction I cannot matter to others. When I so bore myself, so what is the point? I forgot about finding the metaphor that started this reflection, this rant. I forget often. The beginning of a sentence finishes with a pause because I forget. I forget my words, my thoughts, my past, my value, my purpose. I forget that I have a disease. I forget why I cannot recall, let alone feel, the slightest hints of joy or happiness. I forget that this skin can be shed, a time when memory and emotion and connection and living return to me for a while. I forget that I care about others, and I care whether they understand that I cannot remember. I am one of the lucky ones. I am lucky to be stubborn and contrarian, unwilling to be ruled. I am lucky I have some small sense that I owe my life to others, so I will keep trying to explain it. This next one's going to be a lot more uplifting. It's called Living in the Silver Lining, a gratitude to my pals in hospital. We live by inspirational quotes. One day at a time, it gets better, just keep swimming. Hang in there, rainbows and unicorns, anything to inhabit hope, ignore the grave and darkness, the pain we live, so constant, it is mundane. Mundane, from some word that means the whole world. The whole world. That sounds about right. We encourage one another, sometimes through humor so black it might terrify anyone, even the staff of our Sept camp. If they heard us laughing when we call our mental health ward or program or prison sad camp, our encouragements cannot be the subject of a letter home. Hello mother, hello father, here's what we did today. We managed to get through the depression liturgy, answering the questions, our Kyrie eleison. We campers recognize the irony that to answer liturgical prompts we have to lie. Have you had thoughts about hurting yourself? Of course we have. You just asked us to consider our thoughts about hurting ourselves. We are each of us hurting so much, we think about hurting ourselves all the time. We think in contemplation, in rejection, in recollection, or in anticipation. And to answer the question, do you have a plan? Of course we have plans. If we've been there before, if we've come close before, if we've been afraid before, if we've passed an open window, crossed a bridge, looked off a roof, held a full bottle of pills, driven a car, ridden a bicycle, or walked a street close to traffic. We've had the thought, this could be the way I do it. Should I do it right now? This is a contemplation. This is a plan. Even if the priests of this church of medicine, this sect of mental health, may not mean their questions this way, or if they do not understand the difference it makes to have these thoughts and to pass through them. This passage is our silver lining.